let's strike a pose. I think he likes this pose. He really knows how to wear a watch and to make sure that it's visible when he's being photographed. What's up, guys? This is Karar, and today we're going to have a closer look of Sheikh Ammar bin Humaid Al Nuaimi's watch collection. Sheikh Ammar is the Crown Prince of Ajman in the United Arab Emirates. And when we're talking about collectors, this guy has one of the most impressive watch collections around the world. So before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like. I like this piece that he's wearing here. This is from an independent watch brand called H. Moser & C. This special model is called the Endeavour Tourbillon in full Vanta Black dial. This dial is made entirely out of Vanta Black coating. And the thing with Vanta Black is that it is the darkest material known to man. Vanta Black absorbs up to 99.965% of all light that hits it. That means it's pitch black. H. Moser & C did something very creative when they introduced the Vanta Black material that they use in their watches at one of their fairs. As you can see in this video, when you're actually looking at the watch with a black background, the watch fucking disappears. The only thing you see is the hour and the minute hand. That's how impressive Vanta Black is. Holy shit. The price tag is 75,000 Swiss francs. Selfie time with a cap. This time he's actually wearing something very unique. This is the FP Journe Souverain in platinum with a very unique and really sought after dial. This watch was introduced back in 2015 with the red dial. So if you've never heard of FP Journe, let me tell you, it's an independent watch brand that creates incredibly high-end watches. And the price tag is 130,000 US dollars, as that is the price tag it went for during an auction at Christie's. And next up, this is a 25-piece limited edition RM2602 Evil Eye. It's called the Evil Eye because obviously you can see on the dial that it has the eye and a little bit fiery scene. It's supposed to be a talisman against negative energy. That is the unique selling point for a 680,000 USD watch. But it actually comes with a tourbillon. It will eventually set you back somewhere around the $1.2 as an open market price. All right, next up, we have Sheikh Ammar wearing something incredibly colorful and very unique. So this is a Richard Mille RM6801 Cyril Congo. So Cyril Congo is actually a French graffiti artist, and Richard Mille and Cyril Congo collaborated back in 2016 to create 30 pieces. Each and every piece was hand painted with a specific airbrush, making each watch unique on its own. So you're never gonna find two of these watches with the same colorway. Kind of reminds me of what we do here at IFL Watches. Although it retailed for 685,000 US dollars, in the secondary market today, these pieces go anywhere between 2 to 2.5 and even can go above that price tag. And we're talking millions. The only reason these watches is going to be fetching that high of a premium is because the buyer wants a specific colorway on his watch. Like, this is just getting fucking bizarre. This is a customized watch by Artisans de Genève. So Artisans de Genève is a watch customizer that specializes in customizing everything from Rolex to Patek Philippe. But this piece is called the La Montoya Project, a watch that they did in collaboration with the famous Daytona 24 winner Juan Pablo Montoya. Artisans de Genève introduced this watch a couple of years ago, and they did the very first skeletonized Rolex Daytona, and it literally broke the internet when they launched this piece. They put a clear case back on this watch, and just recently Rolex dropped their Daytona with a clear case back. And Artisan did this piece in a limited edition of 50 pieces, and it retailed for 48,000 US dollars. In the secondary market, fetches a price tag of anywhere between 80 to 90,000 US dollars. This is not your ordinary Rolex Daytona 6263, because this is a very special dial. This dial, as you can see, just below the Rolex logo, the Quraysh Hawk emblem, and that's why this is called the Quraysh Hawk dial. Just above the 6 o'clock sub-dial, you can also see the name of the ruler of the United Arab Emirates at the time when this watch was made for the UAE market back in the late 1970s. As you can read on top of the 6 o'clock dial, it says Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum in Arabic. One of these watches was auctioned at Sotheby's back in 2018 for approximately $325,000 US. In today's market, I'd assume this one would be somewhere around $500,000. So this is also an incredibly impressive piece. If you have one 6263 Daytona with the Quraysh Hawk dial, also add a normal 6263 with the Mark II Panda dial to your collection, because why the fuck not? This clean 6263 Paul Newman is going to set you back $500,000 US. Next up, we have Sheikh Ammar sporting the Rolex Daytona 6239. And the 6239 is considered to be the very first Daytona that was ever produced. This piece has the Paul Newman dial, and it's also called the exotic Paul Newman dial because it features 3 different colors, which is the black, white, and the red that you see on this dial. Paul Newman Daytona that Paul Newman himself used to wear sold at an auction at Philippe's during 2017, and it fetched a price tag of an insane $17.8 million US. That marked the most expensive wristwatch sold at auction. But this particular piece isn't going to set you back millions and millions. This is actually a little bit more, well, I'm not gonna use the word cheaper, a little bit more affordable, and it's only going to set you back $270,000 US. Next up, Sheikh Ammar is practicing what looks like his fucking shooting skills. I'm seeing him wearing the Rolex Daytona Paul Newman 6241. And the 6241 was introduced back in 1965, and it was only in production for a couple of years and that got discontinued in 69. Today, this watch is considered one of the most rare Rolex Daytonas to ever exist. And it's estimated that this watch was only produced in 3,000 examples, and majority of these 3,000 examples was made in steel. The popular belief is that less than 300 of these watches was made in gold. This watch was recently sold at a Sotheby's auction. Sotheby's auction? Why is that? Sotheby's auction for $750,000 US. Sheikh Ammar isn't one of cooling down on his watches because this time around he's wearing something white to match that white dishdasha. This is actually the Royal Oak from Audemars Piguet, and this is the perpetual calendar version in full white ceramic. This piece was introduced back in 2019. It has a retail price of approximately $85,000 US. This is going to set you back around $320,000 US. Next up, Sheikh Ammar is wearing something incredible. This is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak fully skeletonized tourbillon, introduced to celebrate 50th anniversary of Royal Oak during 2022. AP did something incredibly cool for all of their Royal Oaks in production during 2022. Each and every watch had a specific rotor that says 50 years on the backside. So the open work Royal Oak in the open market, $500,000 US. This next piece is just fucking bizarre. This is the Royal Oak with the salmon dial. This is a tourbillon with the Arabic numerals. This was a limited edition of 25 pieces that was done for the Middle Eastern market only. Its retail price is around $170,000 US, but to be able to see the open market price, I looked everywhere. There is none of these pieces for sale. I'm just gonna assume that this piece is somewhere around the 500,000 US mark. Moving away from a piece, this one is a Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711 on the wrist of Sheikh Ammar. This isn't the normal 5711. This is considered the last one in steel, just before they announced the Tiffany one. This piece is with the sunburst green dial. It's factory set with 32 baguette cut diamonds on the bezel. It has a secondary market price of approximately 800,000 US dollars. This piece is fucking insane because this is the Patek Philippe Grand Complications 5271 in full platinum and sapphire bezel. And this is not your ordinary Patek Philippe because this features a full perpetual calendar. And by perpetual calendar, you can obviously see the day, the date, the month, and the leap year directly on the watch without any battery, without any memory. This is all done by small cogwheels and polished bridges. Fucking stunning. This piece has a retail price of approximately 350,000 US dollars, but in the open market, a full $1 million. When you play with the kids, you obviously need to have a Patek Philippe World Timer on your wrist. Here he's wearing the 5230G, the Bahraini edition, which is kind of odd for me. I mean, the Sheikh of Ajman wearing a Bahraini edition. Patek released this limited edition for the Bahraini market to celebrate their 50th anniversary in the country. This dial comes in a red guilloche center dial for the Bahraini flag. Also, it has a slight touch on the dial. So if you look closely here, instead of Moscow, you have Manama, the capital of Bahrain. This is a piece that was limited edition to 25 pieces, but an open market price of approximately 125,000 US dollars. Ivan, how much money in watches did we just look at?
8.5 million.
$8.5 million. And this is just scratching the surface. To rate Sheikh Ammar bin Humaid Al Nuaimi's watch collection, I'm gonna give this a proper 9.42.